Students, we are going to continue with the state government chapter number 14 from the civics portion, the fourth session of this, fourth and the last session of this chapter. In the last sessions we have studied about the elements of the state government. From the beginning we have studied about the federal government, federal system, division of powers, then the state legislature, state legislative assembly, then the legislative council. Now here the second portion of the, or the second element of the state government, that is the executive. Okay, so the state executive is here mostly it comprises of the two things, that is one governor and the chief minister and the council of ministers. These are the two organs of the state executive. So out of that, governor is considered as the nominal head of the state executive, and the chief minister and the council of ministers, they are considered as the real executive of the state. Okay, real executive means real executive power, it lies in the hands of the chief minister and the council of ministers, and the governor is the nominal head. So these are the two main elements of the state executive. So we are going to study in detail with these two. See, the first one is the governor, that all the executive powers of the state that are vested in his name by the constitution. It means by the constitution the head of the state executive is the governor, and all the powers are used in his name. So whatever the decisions of the governor and whatever the functioning of the government is done, okay, that is done in the name of the governor. Then but all his powers are actually exercised by the chief minister and his council of ministers. So before this slide we have also studied that the powers governor is the nominal head, it means the constitutional head, that is governor, but the all governor's powers are used by chief minister and the council of ministers, and because of that only the chief minister and the council of ministers, this is called the real head of the state government. Okay, real executive of the state government. So governor is appointed by the president of India, and the president of India appoints the governor on the recommendation of prime minister. Okay, so prime minister recommends the names to president, and president out of that names he appoints the governor for all the states in India, and the tenure of the governor is 5 years. Okay, once appointed, that governor can continue for the 5 years, and the tenure it can be extended, the governors can be transferred from one place to another state also. Okay, so the governor is appointed as the head of one state. Okay, one person is appointed for one position here. Okay, so it means the every state in India, they are having the governor. Okay, so do you know who is the governor of Maharashtra? Yes, Bhagat Singh Koshyari is the governor of Maharashtra. Okay, now some special cases, the president can appoint one person as the governor of more than one state. It means one person can be the governor of one or two states. Okay, more than one states, it is 2 states, 3 states. Okay, in a special situations only. Okay, but most of the state is having the individual independent governor. but sometimes in the special cases the president can appoint one person as the governor of the two states or more than one state, however the number may be. Okay, so the example we can see for this, Vidyasagar Rao, who was the former governor of Maharashtra. He was the governor of Maharashtra. At the same time, he was the governor of the state Tamil Nadu also. Okay, it means in some special cases, such situation, such appointments can be happen for the government by president. Then the qualification of governor, that for the post of governor, as usual he must be or she must be the citizen of India, and the age qualification is 35 years. Okay, the person must not be less than the 35 years for the post of governor. Then he or she, whoever may be, he should not be the member of parliament or any state legislature. Okay, he should not be the member of parliament and member of any state legislature. Okay, so then he must not hold any office of the government. It means he must not be the government employee. Okay, so these are the qualifications. Now we will study about the powers of the government, powers and the functions of the government. That the execution of governor's powers is supported by the chief minister and his council of ministers. So before this also we have studied that all the powers of the governor are used by the chief ministers generally. So it is said that chief minister and council of ministers, with the consultation of chief minister, generally mostly the governor utilize his powers. So the first power, that is the executive power of the governor. Executive powers of the governor, the first one is that the governor appoints the leader of the ruling party of the state as the chief minister. Okay, after the general elections for the legislative assembly, the party which gets the majority, it means the magic figure, how much is required for the establishment of government. Okay, so to that party, okay, governor can invite, and the party chooses the leader, and governor appoints that party leader as a chief minister. Okay, so then the other ministers are also appointed by the governor on the advice of chief minister. After the appointment of chief minister select the ministers for his council of ministers, that are known as the other ministers. So all that other ministers are also appointed by the governor when the chief minister advises it to the governor. Then the governor also appoints the important officials such as advocate general, then the member of the state public service commission. Okay, that are also appointed by the governor. Okay, so these are the executive powers of the governor. Then the second power of the governor is the legislative powers. Okay, so legislative powers, the governor convenes the first session of the legislative assembly each year, and also after the general elections. Okay, so it means each year. So it is considered that by the constitution, the provision is made that minimum 2 meetings of the legislature can be must be conducted in a year. So first meeting, that generally first session of the legislature is convened by the governor. Okay, and after the general elections, okay, that time also the first session of the legislature, that is called by the governor. Governor reserves the right to withhold the passing of a bill passed by the legislature. Okay, so it means already we have studied in the law making procedure that the bill can be considered as a law when only there is the sign of governor, it means the assent of governor. So that is the another legislative power of the government, that the governor has the right to pass the bill. Okay, then the governor reserves it for the consideration by the president or return it to the legislature for the reconsideration. Okay, so when the bill after passing in the both of the houses of legislature, it is sent to the governor for the governor assent. So governor can send back the same bill with some recommendations. Okay, and with some considerations, and then the government has the right to send it back with some recommendations and considerations, or just give assent on it. Okay, so then in case the assembly is not in session and urgent law is required, okay, the governor can pass an ordinance which is equivalent to law. Okay, where it means any emergency is there, and in that emergency, suppose the situation is created like that, on that situation the law is not made by the government. So in such cases the governor can declare one ordinance, and that ordinance is considered as a law. Okay, and it is started to implement. Okay, an ordinance becomes a law only if it is passed by the legislative assembly whenever it reconvenes. Okay, so once if the governor declares the ordinance, it continues for 6 years. Okay, so the gap between the two sessions of the legislative meeting or the sessions is not more than 6 months. Okay, so once the ordinance is declared, it continues for 6 months, and before that if it get passed in legislature, then it continues as a law, otherwise it get dissolves. Okay, so governor can take the ordinance also. Then another right, that is the financial powers of the governor. Money bill can be introduced in the state legislature with the prior approval of the governor. Okay, so it means before introducing the bill in legislative assembly, it should have the prior approval and the recommendations of governor. Okay, so after the government assent only, the law money bill can be presented in assembly. Then the governor has also a state contingency fund which helps him cover any unforeseen expenditure in case of an emergency, natural calamity, etc. Okay, so contingency fund, it means emergency fund, we can say in the simple language. Okay, so that emergency fund is under control of the governor. Okay, whenever there is the natural calamity or any emergency is there, in that case only that fund that is reserved for emergency situations, and that can only be used after the consent of governor. Okay, so that is the another power of the financial power of the governor. Then the next is judicial powers. So the judicial powers of the governor, so what are that? The governor has the power to grant pardons. It means so what to excuse. Okay, and reduce the term of punishment of the people convicted under the laws of the state, particular state. Okay, so it means if a criminal got punishment, okay, so after the high court he has the right to make an application to governor. So governor has its own right to either it is the punishment should get lesser, or just give him pardon from the that crime he has done. Okay, that is the power of governor. Then however, he cannot change the death sentence. Okay, so he cannot change the death sentence. Death sentence means death punishment for any criminal. If the high court has given the death punishment, then governor cannot change it. Okay, so it can just reduce the punishments which are given in the rather than the deaths. Okay, then discretionary powers. Okay, so discretionary powers, it means what, the governor also has some special powers. So these are the special powers of the governors. So these powers are utilized by the governor own. Okay, the governor can report the president that the state cannot be run according to the provisions of the constitution, and president rule is required in the state. So we have studied in the prior slides that the actual powers of the governor are implemented by the are practiced by the chief minister and council of minister, but these are the discretionary powers that are only used by the governor. Okay, so these power the chief minister and the council of ministers, they cannot use, but they can suggest the governor to utilize these powers. So here the first thing that we have studied, that but the governor can report to the president that it is very difficult to continue the state to govern by the provisions of constitution. He can report to the president to like this, and he can request the president to declare the state emergency, that is known as the presidential rule. Okay, so this president rule can be recommended by the governor, and the case here we have experienced before few months before the establishment of this current government in Maharashtra. Okay, there no single party got the majority seats to form the government. So therefore BJP was there, Shiv Sena, then Congress and NCP, these all parties were just trying to form their own governments. So in such cases governor reported the president to start the president's rule, and then in India the president in Maharashtra, the president rule was started for some days. Okay, so that is the power of the governor. Then the governor can use his power to select a chief minister in the absence of the an absolute majority. We can again go back to the same situation when there were no party was having the majority. So that time governor has the right to invite the parties, which party to be invited to form the government. Then the governor invited first BJP party, then it invited to the second largest party, that was the Shiv Sena. Okay, so like this one by one governor can invite the parties to form the government. Okay, then the third part of that is the governor can announce fresh elections and dismiss the council of ministers that have lost the confidence of the state legislature. Okay, it means the council of minister, if it the no confidence motion, it is called the no confidence motion, if it is passed against the government, okay, against the council of ministers in legislative assembly. Okay, then the government can be dissolved and the fresh elections are conducted, and the governor has right to announce the fresh elections. Okay, the council of ministers, that the second element of the state executive. uh, the actual powers of the administration of state that already we have studied, it resides in the hands of chief minister and the council of ministers. Okay, so here these council of ministers and chief ministers are answerable to the state legislature. Okay, it means what, if whatever the questions regarding the government matters are asked in legislature, okay, the ministers and chief ministers are answerable, they have to answer for the questions which are asked by the oppositions. Okay, then the council of ministers are also responsible for the departments like road, education, health and sanitation, law and order, etc. Then the chief minister, it is equivalent of the prime minister in the center. Okay, as there is prime minister in central government, there is the chief minister in the state government. Then the chief minister appoints the council of ministers. Okay, the ministers in the council he appoints, he select that and the names are given to president and the governor, and the governor appoints it. Then chief minister allocates the different portfolios means the different works, different departments, okay, are allotted by ministers, chief ministers to the ministers. Then he can reshuffle portfolios, he can reshuffle means he can change the portfolios, interchange he can do. Then he can also remove the ministers from the council of minister, okay, if they are not working properly and if they are inefficient. Then the chief minister conducts the affair of state, all the state affairs are conducted under the chief minister. Then chief minister is responsible for coordination of the various departments of the state. Okay, how much of the departments and all that ministers, okay, to make the coordination between all them, that is the responsibility of the chief minister. Then the next element of the state government, that is the civil services. Okay, it's not the part of executive, this is the different part, it is another element of the state government, that is the civil services. So the administrative machinery or the bureaucracy, okay, it means the government servants in the state that are called the civil servants. Okay, so civil servants are they are the trained and skilled officers. They do not represent any political party. Okay, they are independent, they are the government servants, they never represent any political party, not even the ruling party also. Okay, then the tenure of the officers, it does not depend on the fate of government. Okay, it means the government it is once elected, it continues for 5 years, or if in between the no confidence motion is passed, then the government can be dissolved also. So but the civil servants, they continue their work for any government. Okay, then it is their responsibility to assist the ministers in drafting the policies and executing them. Okay, so actually whatever the policies are made by the government, that are made by the ministers with the help of civil servants. Then these civil services are having it contains these things. Okay, the Indian civil services is also known as the Indian bureaucracy, that all India services, okay, who are included in the civil services, all India services, the officers from these categories. Then the state services, then technical and managerial staff of public sector and employees of the local government, they all are included in the civil services. Okay, so the officers that are selected by UPSC, okay, they work for the Indian Administrative Service, IAS, Indian Public Police Service, IPS. Okay, so the collector of our district is IAS. Okay, IPS, the superintendent of police, SP for the district, that is IPS. Okay, Indian forest services are there. Okay, so in these departments officers are selected by the UPSC, okay, with exams, and then they are trained by and recruited by the central government. Okay, they work both for central government as well as the state government also. The states have similar state public service commissions and look after their administration. In the state also, as like Union Public Service Commission, there is the State Public Service Commission. In Maharashtra, that is called the MPSC. It means Maharashtra State Public Service Commission. They also recruit the officers for state government. And then the another element of the state government is the Advocate General. Advocate General is an officer that is appointed by the government, governor. Okay, governor appoints the Advocate General, and this Advocate General, who is the Advocate General? Advocate General is the legal advisor of the state, and he performs the duties assigned by the governor, okay, for the state. Then he is an individual qualified to be the high court judge, okay, that eligible for Advocate General. The person who is eligible to become a high court judge, okay, he is eligible for becoming the Advocate General. Okay, so in this way here, this is the last element of the state government that we have studied, and in this way here we have completed the chapter, the state government. Thank you.